Kate, we're all behind you, so don't worry.
Hear ye, hear ye. This court is now in session. You will please rise. You may be seated.
The People versus Kate Bradley.
Here, Your Honor. But I'm not against the people. It's just that dumb signal.
Ms. Bradley, am I to assume that you are acting as your own counsel?
That's right.
Approach the bench, please. You are charged with violation of Section 10, Paragraph B of the Pixley Municipal Code. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Your Honor, guilty or not guilty sounds so serious for such a little thing. Can't I just say I didn't do it?
I'm afraid we're going to have to run things around here in our own way. The court assumes that you plead not guilty.
Yes, sir.
Very well, you may be seated. Does the prosecution wish to make an opening statement?
No statement, except, of course, that the defendant is guilty.
Well, that's some no statement.
Mrs. Bradley, confine yourself to conducting your case. Do you wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, I do. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Mrs. Bradley.
Yes?
This is a trial by court. There is no jury.
Then who decides whether I'm guilty or not guilty?
I do. I believe you were about to make an opening statement.
I only want to say that I can prove without a shadow of a doubt my complete innocence of this alleged violation. And I am confident that the court will be kind, just, humane, considerate, impartial, honest.
Mrs. Bradley, you may be confident that this court will base its decision strictly on the evidence.
Of course.
You may be seated. Prosecution may call the first witness.
Deputy John Edward.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated.
Deputy Edwards, you observed the defendant in the act of making an illegal crossing at the time and date in question. Is that correct?
It is.
In other words, your citation to the defendant stands as written. You make no retraction. Well?
None, sir.
That is all. Your witness.
Deputy Edwards, how many people would you estimate crossed at that signal in, say, a 5-minute period at the time of my alleged violation?
Dozen or so.
Uh-huh. And how come with all those people you picked me to give a ticket? Me, and me alone.
Because you were the only one crossing against the signal.
I don't want to talk to this witness anymore.
The witness may step down.
Things don't look too good for Kate. If you got anything up your sleeve besides the freckles, now's the time to trot it out.
Relax. I'll turn this court upside down when my surprise witness shows up with the evidence.
Mrs. Bradley, you may call your witnesses now.
Oh, I don't have any, Your Honor.
You don't have... Do you mean to tell me that you're contesting this case and you don't have any witnesses?
No. Oh, but I have a document stating my movements on the day in question, and it's legally signed, too.
By whom?
Me.
I object.
I was there. I'll find it in just a minute.
Mrs. Bradley, I'm afraid that any such document signed only by you wouldn't carry very much weight.
Oh, but you can at least look at it. I went to a lot of trouble to put everything down. Everything. I'll find it. Oh, do you mind?
Could this be it?
I don't know.
Well, it looks like some sort of code. K1P2?
Let's knit one pearl, too. I'm making a sweater for Uncle Joe. It's supposed to be a surprise. Here it is. Now, look. It shows where I went to the ice cream parlor and the dry goods store and the beauty shop. And you see, I even made a note that I met your wife in the beauty shop, and it was exactly 1:45.
But, Mrs. Bradley, this just doesn't prove a thing. I'm afraid that if you don't have any more evidence, that I will have to rule...
Hold it. Hold it. Your Honor, I've got a surprise witness coming in.
Who are you?
I'm a relative of the criminal here.
Thanks a lot.
Well, where is this surprise witness?
I don't know. I'm surprised he hadn't shown up yet.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to...
Hey, Joe, here I am. Joe! Joe! I got it!
What's this all about?
Relax and prepare to go free. Your Honor, this here is my surprise witness. Floyd, your hat. You're in the judge's court.
I know. That's why I wore my best one.
What is supposed to be the significance of this picture?
Well, Your Honor, that picture shows the traffic signal in question.
Yes, but I still don't see the significance of that.
Well, that's where my surprise witness comes in. What is your name, sir?
Wait a minute. Is this man an attorney?
Well, Counselor, in the interest of justice, suppose we just hear him out, huh?
Go on. What's your name?
Joe, that's kind of a silly question. You know my name. We've been friends for at least 25 years.
Well, the court would like to know your name.
Oh. My name is Floyd Smoot, Court.
Your Honor, yesterday the aforementioned Mr. Smoot and myself returned to the scene of the crime.
I've got to get 20 years.
If you will note, this color photograph indicates that the signal is still in operation.
Yes, the signal does show the red stoplight is on.
Now, the whole question before the court is whether Mrs. Bradley, the criminal, was right when she said the signal was in operation after 2 o'clock.
Yes, that's correct.
And you'll note one other thing in the picture. Mr. Smoot is showing me his watch. What time was it by your watch when this picture was taken, Mr. Smoot?
Exactly 10 minutes after 2.
And what is your occupation, Mr. Smoot?
You know my occupation, Joe. I run the cannonball.
The court would like to know.
I run the cannonball, Court.
Everybody knows the accuracy of a railroad man's watch. Right on the minute. Right, Your Honor?
Well, yes, I'll have to agree to that. Down through the years, the accuracy of the railroad man's watch has been highly regarded.
And with this evidence, I hereby declare the defendant innocent.
Just one moment here. What's that in the background?
What? That's the courthouse.
And the clock on the courthouse tower through this magnifying glass shows the time to be 5 minutes before 2.
What's that?
No kidding. It said 5 minutes before 2. Boy, I gotta set this thing back.
Floyd, knock it off.
Joe, that courthouse clock hadn't been wrong in 30 years. I always set my watch by it.
I rest my case. If it pleases the court, you can throw it out.
Just a minute. I now see that you two are in the middle of the street. Why was that?
Well, Your Honor, when I had this fellow take our picture, I wanted him to include the signal.
Ah, yes, the signal. The signal that shows the stoplight red. That will be a $2 fine each for jaywalking. Now, if there are no more interruptions, I stand prepared to pass judgment on the case in hand. Mrs. Bradley, do you have anything further to say?
No, Your Honor, except that Uncle Joe and Floyd were just trying to help. They meant well.
I'm sure they did.
And I'm sorry I don't have any more evidence, but I thought it would help if I outlined every place I went and what I did on the day in question, but I realize it's just on my say-so. But I did have your wife to back me up that we were talking at 1:45. You can ask her.
Well, I'm afraid that wouldn't do much good. You see, the time in question is 2, not 1:45.
Well, we talked a little bit beyond that. You see, she asked me how my family was, and I said, fine. And then I asked her how her grandchildren were, and she told me.
Yeah, wait a minute. My wife told you about our grandchildren?
That's right.
Starting at 1:45?
Yes, sir.
I find the defendant not guilty.
Not guilty.
That's what I said. No living person has ever heard my wife take less than a half hour when bragging about our grandchildren. Why, she can do 20 minutes alone on little Leroy's freckle. Mrs. Bradley, you had to miss that signal by at least 15 minutes. Case dismissed.
Thank you, Judge. But I must say I do agree with your wife. Oh, that little Leroy is a darling fella.
Oh, isn't he, with those freckles
You're
on that
such-
little nose and that smile? You know, I might just happen to have a picture.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
That's the little Leroy. And me fishing up at Crystal Lake.
Petticoat Junction.